Hello and welcome to this ESOL Skills for Life Level 1 Writing Assessment lesson for Question 1, Planning a Formal Letter. And by the end of this lesson, you will be able to organise information in order or sequence and expand on the given details. So here we have an example text and question that you may get in your controlled assessment for level 1. You will be given a list of instructions that you need to do and follow when you're writing your letter, as well as a text to help you with ideas and suggestions that you may include. So for this example, you want to start your own business. You have seen that support is available from Rafton Business Association. Write a letter to Mrs. R. Chauhan at the Rafton Business Association to describe your business idea. What we have to do is include details of the products or services you will offer and who your customers will be. So these are bullet points or subheadings we may want to include within our plan and expand on those. You should also explain why you think your business will succeed and describe your plans for the future. So these are things we will need to note and expand on within our plan also. Now we don't really have to deal with this one just yet, but within our writing process we will need to use at least one complex sentence in your letter. So we'll look at that in more detail in our next lesson. And this is more the focus of this lesson. You are required to plan and write your letter on the pages provided. So the planning stage is what we're looking at now. Now it is important to note that at level 1 there are only 2 marks available for your plan, and you need both of them. There are 2 marks available, and it is required that you have 2 marks to pass this learning outcome. So please be extra careful when you are making your plan at level 1. So we will now look at the text. It will give you some examples of the business, so there will be some ideas suggested to you. You will also have the opportunity to use your own idea. Now it is important to note that you pick one of these and develop this in more detail. Do not try to write about every single one that you get in the text and add some of your own. It will take way too long and it is not required. So now let's look at how to make a plan for a formal letter. So the 2 key tasks that we need to carry out when making our plan is that we have to organize the given information. So that is information that we have been given within the question, as well as information that we have been given within the supporting text. Once we have organized that, we need to expand. So we need to bring in our own ideas into the plan, and this is what we have to do even before we start making sentences and paragraphs within our actual letter. So when it comes to making a plan, we have a structure that we need to follow. So we need to use some planning and layout devices. The first example would be numbered points as well as subheadings. So the first paragraph and the first one we will need to do is the reason for writing. That will be followed by some bullet points. Now at this point I'm not actually going to fill in any of the details. We will take a look at that in a moment. I just want to focus on the structure of a plan. The second numbered point and subheading will be the details of. Now in this example it will be the details of my business because that is what is noted in the question. It may be different in your exam. It may be the details of my application, the details of my experience. The second part of that subheading will depend on the given text and question. Then after the subheading, we will put in some bullet points that will be populated later with the information that we take out of the question and text. And finally, we will have a third numbered point and subheading, and that will be the expected outcome. So that will be the details that you expect the reader to do after they finished reading your letter. And of course, they will be finished with some bullet points as well. So what does that look like now? So we have to then start taking the details out of the text and look everywhere. So we will look at the title of the question, we will look at subheadings, we will look at the question, we'll look at the text. So what is the reason for writing? The reason for writing is that you want to start your own business. So that will be the first thing you tell the reader. Also, it is common practice to tell the reader where you saw the information that prompted you to write to them. So in this instance, you see this page on a website, so the page being the supporting text. So again, that's what you will tell the reader within the first paragraph. Next, you will outline the details of your business. Now, what you have to write about has been given to you within the text and in the question. So you will have to, the examples were given here. You were given 3 examples or the option to use your own idea. So for my example, I'm simply going to take the first option, make and sell food. For example, sandwiches, cakes, and other items. So what that will look like when we come to our plan, we have to make sure we cover all what we are told to include. So include details of. So the details of our products and services with regards to making and selling food, who their customers will be, why you think the business will succeed, and finally your plans for the future. So it is a good idea to put these requirements into headings or subheadings within your plan. So we'll talk about our products, we'll talk about our customers, we'll talk about why we're going to be successful, and we'll talk about the future plans. So this is where we now have to start adding our own ideas. So for my idea, I'm going to make and sell Portuguese food. Then I will give some examples of what that means. I will sell Portuguese chicken, and that will be peri-peri chicken. I will sell pastel de nata, which are custard tarts. And I do apologize to any Portuguese listeners out there because I am sure I did not pronounce those very accurately. I will also sell Portuguese coffee, and I will just note that it is the best. Again, noting that in your plan, do not write sentences. This is just simply note form. When I talk about my customers, I have to add in who my customers will be. So I will say that there are many Portuguese people in the area, and I also targeting local Northern Irish residents. I'm thinking, why will I be successful? I will serve high quality food everyone will love. Also that I have 20 years experience as a chef. The future, so what will the future be? I hope to open a shop in summer, and that shop will be in Newry. When it comes to the expected outcome, there are stock phrases and statements that you can use. You can thank the reader for their time, and if any cues, please contact. So the cues in this bullet point will represent questions. And writing like this is perfectly acceptable. It's noted in the mark scheme that you can use contractions or notes or symbols. So this will be our plan. So at the end of this lesson, you are now able to organize information in order and expand on the given details.